Under the gilded lights of my daughter's wedding, my 6-year-old granddaughter squeezed my hand and whispered in terror, "Haven't you seen what's under the table?" And I bent down to find the bride's ex-boyfriend hiding in the shadows, clutching a small box, waiting to shatter the perfect day. Under the gilded lights of my daughter's wedding, my 6-year-old granddaughter squeezed my hand and whispered in terror, "Haven't you seen what's under the table?" And I bent down to find the bride's ex-boyfriend hiding in the shadows, clutching a small box, waiting to shatter the perfect days. The air in the grand ballroom of the Evermore Hotel thrummed with a frequency unique to profound happiness. It was a compound vibration, the soaring strings of the chamber quartet's rendition of Clair de Lune, the percussive rhythm of laughter rising and falling in waves, the shimmering hum of crystal catching the light from 1,000 suspended fairy lights. The scent was an intoxicating bouquet, lush, heady perfume of peonies and gardenias, cascading from every archway and centerpiece, layered over the warm, buttery promise of the awaiting feast and the clean, ozone-tinged aftermath of popped champagne corks at a round table near the edge of the dance floor, far enough from the speakers to permit conversation, but close enough to feel the heartbeat of the party. I sat with my granddaughter, Alara. My chair was a throne of quiet contentment. At 72, such moments of pure observational joy were treasures to be polished in memory. My daughter, Lillian, a vision of elegant, understated grace in a silk grape gown the color of moonlight, was spinning in a slow circle in her new husband's arms, her forehead resting against Alexander's shoulder. His hand, broad and steady, spanned the small of her back, a gesture of possession so tender it made my own heart, seasoned though it was, contract with a sweet, familiar ache. And then there was Alara, 6 years old, a sprite in a cornflower blue, taffeta dress with a satin sash that perpetually needed retying. Her dark curls, so like her mother's at that age, were half escaped from an elaborate braid. She was my companion at this table for two, a temporary island amidst the sea of revelry. For the last half hour, we had been engaged in our own quiet rituals. We'd counted how many ladies wore silver shoes, 12. We'd invented elaborate backstories for the particularly animated couple at Table 7, secret agents, obviously communicating via tango steps. We'd shared a single illicit profiterole, the chocolate sauce leaving a comical smear on her chin that I'd wiped away with my napkin. Her small hand was a trusting weight in mine, her fingers occasionally absently tracing the lines and age spots on my knuckles. A map she seemed to find endlessly fascinating. I was soaking in the details, the tableau, the way the light caught the sequins on the bridesmaids, dresses like scattered minnows in a dark stream, the proud, slightly bewildered smile on my son-in-law David's face as he danced with his new wife, the gentle clink of cutlery as the waitstaff began their silent, efficient ballet around the periphery, preparing for the speeches. I was in that blissful state of nostalgic projection, seeing Lillian's whole life flash in the soft light, the scraped knees, the college acceptances, the heartbreaks, the triumphant phone call announcing Alexander's proposal, all culminating in this perfect golden evening. The music, the laughter, the love vitae was a symphony, and I was blissfully adrift in its harmony. The discordant note was physical before it was audible. Alara's hand, a moment ago soft and placid, suddenly convulsed in mine. Her grip tightened with a startling, desperate strength that belied her 6 years. It was not a playful squeeze, but the clutch of someone bracing against a fall. The contact shocked me from my reverie. I looked down. She had leaned in so, closed the tip of her nose, brushed the sleeve of my chiffon blouse. Her face, when I tilted to see it, had been utterly transformed. The sparkle of mischief from our profiterole conspiracy was gone, erased as if by a damp cloth. Her complexion, usually a warm olive like her father's, was wan. Her enormous hazel eyes, fringed with lashes so dark they looked painted, were wide with an emotion that stripped years from my soul and replaced them with an icy, primal alertness. It was pure, unadulterated fear, not the fear of a nightmare or a scraped knee, but the sharp, immediate fear of a prey animal that has just heard the snap of a twig. "Grandma," she whispered. Her voice was a thin, shaky reed, barely audible beneath the swell of the quartet. It was a sound that seemed to bypass my ears and travel directly into my spine. "We have to go home. Right now." A flurry of benign explanations flitted through my mind as sudden stomachache from too many cake samples, a longing for her favorite stuffed owl, a child's overwhelming fatigue from the day's excitement. I clung to them, wanting them to be true. I bent my head lower, my silver bob falling forward to curtain our faces, creating a private confessional nook. I kept my own voice a low, soothing murmur, a tone honed over decades of soothing childhood fears. "What's wrong, my sweet girl? Are you feeling sick? Do you need the bathroom?" She gave a frantic, minute shake of her head, the loose curls trembling. Her little body was vibrating with a fine tension, like a violin string tuned too high. "No!" she breathed, her eyes darting furtively around before locking back onto mine with an intensity that was unnerving. "No, haven't you seen? Haven't you seen what's under the table?" Under the table. 3 simple words that changed the axis of the world. The symphony of joy around me didn't stop, but it instantly became a backdrop, a potentially treacherous facade. My grandmotherly concern evaporated, replaced by a cold, tactical clarity I hadn't known since my late husband, a career diplomat, and I had navigated a potentially volatile situation in a crowded, foreign marketplace decades ago. My heart did more than skip a beat. It seemed to stall, a heavy, silent stone in my chest before restarting with a hard, painful thud that echoed in my ears. "Don't look." Not directly. Not yet. I forced a soft, warm smile onto my face, one meant for anyone who might be glancing our way. I reached out with my free hand and gently tucked one of her curls behind her ear, a gesture of casual affection. My eyes scanned our immediate vicinity, table by table, face by face. The jovial uncles, the tipsy aunts, the cousins flirting by the pillar, nothing to miss. No one paying us undue attention. The threat, if there was one, was not in the open. The tablecloth was a floor-length expanse of heavy ivory damask, embroidered with delicate silver threads that glimmered in the low light. It created a plush, hidden cavern between our chairs and the rest of the world. A child's paradise for playing with dolls, or a perfect hiding place for something else. "Keep holding my hand, love," I whispered, my smile still fixed. "Everything's all right. Let Grandma just adjust her napkin." The excuse was flimsy, but my delivery was calm. I released her hand slowly, giving her fingers a reassuring press before letting go. I smoothed my skirt, picked up my linen napkin from my lap as if to reposition it, and then, with a small, natural sigh, as if settling more comfortably in my chair, I let my body list gently to the right. I leaned down, pretending to fumble for the napkins, edge where it had supposedly brushed the floor. The transition from the warm, luminous glow of the ballroom to the shadowy world beneath the table was abrupt. The damask acted as a filter, turning the golden light a murky, muted sepia. The roar of the party became muffled, distant. It was a world of chair legs like polished tree trunks, of discarded evening bags and a forgotten pink hair ribbon, of the intricate lattice work, of women's heels and men's patent leather oxfors. The scent changed to, down here, it was dominated by the clean, starched smell of the linen and the faint, dusty odor of the carpet. And there, in the deepest shadows, tucked between the central pedestal of our table and the next, was a man. He was crouched, not sitting, his body coiled in a tense, athletic spring. He was dressed not in wedding finery, but in dark, nondescript clothing, charcoal gray trousers, and a black pullover that swallowed the light. His face was turned partially away, his profile illuminated by a sliver of light escaping from a gap in the cloth on the other side. It was a profile I knew, though it was harder. Leaner than I remembered, the boyish softness long gone. Ethan Cole, Lillian's university boyfriend, the one before Alexander, the one whose relationship had ended not with a whimper, but with a series of volatile, possessive bangs that had left Lillian shaken and us, her family, deeply relieved when it was over. That had been over 4 years ago. We'd heard he'd moved cities, fallen off the radar. Recognition was a cold spike, but the fear crystallized completely when I saw what was in his hands. He wasn't just hiding, he was preparing. Cradled in his palms was a small, hinged wooden box, its finish dark and smooth. His thumb was stroking the lid with a nervous, obsessive rhythm, and protruding from the slightly parted lid, I caught the glint of something metallic and the dull sheen of, was that wax? A seal? My mind, racing, pieced it together with horrifying clarity. It wasn't a jewelry box. It was a vintage-style cigar box, the kind collectors used. He wasn't here to watch. He was here to make a scene, to disrupt, to claim. He was waiting for a specific moment, perhaps the toast, the first dance's end, a quiet lull to spring out, to confront, to embarrass, to shatter this perfect evening with the toxic nostalgia of the past she had wisely left behind. Ilara's terrified whisper made perfect, horrifying sense. She must have slipped under the table earlier during her explorer phase, seeking a lost sequin or playing a secret game, and she had found a monster in the dark. I straightened up slowly, muscles protesting the controlled movement. The vibrant, happy world of the wedding flooded back, now seeming horrifically fragile. A soap bubble about to be popped by a grubby, deliberate finger. I turned my head and looked at my granddaughter. Her eyes were pools of silent pleading, waiting for my confirmation, for me to see. I saw, and in that moment, my primary objective shifted from guest of honor to protector. Not just of Lillian, but of this child whose innocence had just been trespassed upon. I reached for her again, but this time I pulled her not just close, but onto my lap, wrapping my arms around her in a firm, enveloping hug. I could feel the frantic rabbit beat of her heart against my chest. I buried my face in her curls, my whisper a mere breath against her ear. "You are the bravest, smartest girl in the whole world," I said, each word deliberate and calm. "You are absolutely right. We need to be very, very quiet and very clever, like secret agents. We are going to slip out, just us, and we are going to find Mommy and Alexander and tell him. But we mustn't run. We mustn't let him know we saw. Can you do that? Can you be my secret agent partner?" She gave a tiny, decisive nod against my neck, her arms tightening around my shoulders. Her trust was absolute, and it filled me with a ferocious strength. "Good," I breathed. "Now hold my hand. We're going for a little walk." I set her down, stood up smoothly, and took her hand. My own was steady. I picked up my small beaded clutch, giving the impression of a woman, perhaps, heading to the restroom or to freshen her lipstick. I offered a benign, vague smile to the couple at the next table, who glanced up as we passed. "Just going to find the powder room," I mouthed, and they smiled back, nodding. Our exit was a masterclass in casual evasion. We didn't walk directly towards the main doors, which would have taken us past the head table and through the thickest crowd. Instead, we meandered. We paused by the cake, a towering fantasy of buttercream and sugared flowers, and I pointed out a detail to Ilara, forcing a light, admiring tone. We then drifted along the periphery, behind the quartet's dais, skirting the edge of the dance floor. Every nerve in my body was screaming, every instinct telling me to run, to shout, to point. But I kept my pace to a leisurely, grandmotherly amble, my grip on Alara's hand firm and reassuring. As we neared the arched entrance to the foyer, I spotted Malcolm, the hotel's head of security. He was a broad, quiet man in a tailored suit, positioned unobtrusively near a potted palm, his eyes doing a constant, professional sweep of the room. I'd met him briefly during the rehearsal dinner. Lillian had hired him specifically for his discretion and reputation. Catching his eye, I gave a slight, urgent tilt of my head. His expression didn't change, but he gave an almost imperceptible nod and detached himself from the wall, moving to intercept us just outside the ballroom, in the relative quiet of the marble foyer. "Mrs. Bennet," he said, his voice low. "Everything all right?" "Malcolm, listen carefully," I said, bending down slightly as if to adjust Alara's sash, my voice a rapid, urgent undertone. "Under our table, table 14, near the central pedestal, there is an uninvited man hiding. His name is Ethan Cole. He is the bride's ex-boyfriend. He is crouched down with a small box. I believe he is waiting to cause a major disruption." Malcolm's eyes, a cool, assessing gray, flickered for a nanosecond. He didn't ask how I knew, didn't question the intelligence. He simply lifted his wrists to his mouth, speaking softly into a hidden microphone. "Charlie, Simon to the foyer. Now, unseen approach to table 14. Intruder, possible hostile, under the table. Cole, Ethan, detain and remove with zero disruption. Go." Within 15 seconds, 2 other men in similar dark suits appeared, their faces neutral. Malcolm gave them a few terse, silent hand signals, pointing a finger downwards and then drawing it smoothly across his throat. "Extract and eliminate the disturbance." They melted back into the ballroom, not together, but separately, like shadows diverging. "Alara spotted him," I said to Malcolm, my voice thick with a mix of dread and pride. "She's the one who warned me." Malcolm looked down at Alara, who was peeking out from behind my skirts. For the first time, his professional mask softened into something resembling genuine warmth. "Well done, young miss. Very observant indeed. Can you get Lillian and Alexander out here?" I asked, without causing alarm. He nodded again and spoke into his mic. "Need a word with the bride and groom at the foyer arch? Family matter. Low-key." Moments later, Lillian appeared, Alexander's hand on the small of her back, a look of mild concern on her beautiful face. "Mom, is everything okay?" "Ilada, sweetheart, what's the matter?" Before I could answer, from inside the ballroom, there was the briefest, most contained ripple of movement near table 14. It was so subtle most guests wouldn't have noticed. The damask cloth twitched slightly, as if brushed by a passing server. 2 tall men seemed to converge on the spot from different angles, bending down in unison. There was no shout, no commotion. Just a smooth, coordinated lift. The tablecloth bulged momentarily, then settled. Malcolm's men straightened up, and between them, walking stiffly but without resistance, was Ethan. One man had a firm, polite grip on his upper arm. The other had discreetly taken possession of the small wooden box, which he slid into his own jacket pocket. They guided him, not toward the main entrance we were standing in, but toward a service door at the far end of the room, their bodies shielding him from view. It was over in less than 20 seconds. The quartet never missed a note. The laughter never died. Lillian's hand flew to her mouth, her eyes tracking the scene with dawning horror. "Was that Ethan?" I confirmed, my voice finally allowing a tremor of released tension. "He was under our table, hiding, waiting." Alexander's face darkened, his arm tightening around Lillian. "My God, what was he planning?" Malcolm stepped forward. "We have him secured, Mr. and Mrs. Thorne. He was in possession of an item. We'll handle everything from here. The local police have been notified and are meeting us. He will not be returning." Lillian looked from me to Malcolm, then down at Alara, who was now clinging to my leg. The immediate danger past, the shock setting in. How did you know?" I knelt down, my knees protesting, and gathered Alara into my arms. She buried her face in my shoulder. "This," I said, my voice choked with emotion, "is your guardian angel." She saw him. She told me. She was smarter and braver than all of us. The rest of the evening passed in a surreal haze of afterglow and adrenaline. The planned events proceeded. The toasts were heartfelt and funny. The first dance was dreamlike. The cake was cut with shining silver. But for our small family circle, a secret. Sacred knowledge hummed beneath the festivities. We had been saved from a shattering we hadn't even known was imminent. Later, after the bouquet was tossed and the dancing grew more energetic, I found myself sitting at a different table with the sleeping Alara in my lap, her head heavy on my chest. A bowl of melting ice cream, triple chocolate with rainbow sprinkles in her earned reward, sat mostly untouched on the table. Alexander crouched beside my chair, his eyes serious. "Marjorie, we can't thank you enough. The way you handled that, you prevented a disaster." "It wasn't me," I said, stroking Alara's hair. "It was her. She saw the shadow everyone else missed." He nodded, looking at the sleeping child with a new, profound respect. "She did, but you were the steady hand, the calm in the storm. Lillian told me about your years overseas with her father, said you had a way of seeing trouble before it erupted. I see it now." I smiled faintly, memories of other crowded rooms, other potential crises, flickering at the edges of my mind. "You learn to read the room differently. But tonight, I was just a grandmother lost in the music. She was the one reading the shadows." The wedding did continue, and joy, once the immediate threat was vacuumed away by Malcolm's efficient team, returned fuller and more profound, seasoned with gratitude. But as I sat there holding the warm, sleeping weight of my granddaughter, I couldn't stop my mind from wandering into the dark what-ifs. What was in that box? Old letters? A ring? Something more sinister? What did he plan to say when he erupted into the light? The questions would likely haunt me longer than they would Lillian. Who had Alexander to anchor her in the present, the final image of the night, imprinted on my soul even more than the sight of my radiant daughter dancing? Was the contrast between two worlds, the one above the damask cloth, brimming with light, music, and promised futures, and the one below, a crouched figure in the shadows, clinging to a bitter past in a small wooden box, and the fragile, observant bridge between those two worlds, a small, trembling hand in mine, and a whisper that held the power to protect a universe of happiness. The next morning, over a late family breakfast in the sun-drenched hotel conservatory, Alara was her bubbly self once more. The terror of the night before, softened by sleep and the heroic gloss we had all painted over it. She was now the hero of the wedding, a title she wore with shy pride. Malcolm sought us out as we were finishing our coffee. He approached our table, his demeanor respectful. "Mrs. Bennet, a word?" We stepped aside. "The police have him," he said quietly. The box contained a bundle of old photographs, a dried corsage from what appears to be a long-ago dance, and a rather dramatic, rambling letter. It's clear he was planning to make a public declaration of some sort, a misguided attempt to win her back, or perhaps just to ruin the moment. He's been charged with trespassing and threatening behavior. He won't be a problem. "Thank you, Malcolm, for your discretion. It's my job," he said. Then he added, a hint of a smile touching his lips, "But the early warning system, that was exceptional work. You and your partner." He nodded toward Alara, who was showing Alexander how to properly dip a strawberry in chocolate fondue. I walked back to the table, the morning sun warm on my back. Lillian met my eyes, a silent question in hers. I gave her a small, reassuring nod. "It's handled." As I sat down, Alara crawled into my lap, smelling of syrup and sunshine. "Grandma," she said, her voice confidential. I'm glad the shadow man is gone. So am I, my love. So am I. Can we have ice cream again today? I laughed, the sound light and free, the last of the night's chill finally melting away. For you, my brave, observant girl, I said, kissing the top of her head. We can have all the ice cream in the world. And in that moment, surrounded by my family in the clear light of a new day, the memory of the shadow under the table receded, replaced by the far more enduring memory of the small, sure hand that had led us all out of the dark and back into the light.